Do you want to go fast? Like race car fast? Then stay tuned with BuiltJ. Good day, everybody, and thanks for tuning in again with BuiltJ. Today we're going to be working on the EG door. We're going to go ahead and get the cutting of it. I'm going to go ahead and keep the door handle mechanism because that's probably roughly a pound with the rods and all. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that. That way I can still, open and close my door inside and outside. So that's going to stay. I'm going to be cutting most of the door, including the support beam on the inside of the door, which you guys will see shortly once I get cutting on this. And I'm also going to put a piece of sheet metal over it to cover everything and make it look aesthetically pleasing. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'll go ahead and show you what we need to remove first. We're going to go ahead and remove these 10mm bolts that hold the rods in for the window. So I'll go ahead and remove those. Those are 10mm. There's only 2 on this particular door. So there's that. Go ahead and remove the rods from the latch mechanism. You just take a flathead. I take a look right through here and disconnect it. I already did the pleasure of disconnecting those in advance, so they are free and ready to come out. So those are good to go. And now you want to take these 3 screws out. And there you have it. And as always, when you're going to go ahead and start the cutting, safety first. You're going to want to put your goggles on, everything, so on and so forth, gloves. Protect yourself because you don't want to get shards of metal in your eye, as discussed in the last couple videos. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my gear now. Alright, I got my safety materials on, so we'll go ahead and we'll get started. I'm going to go ahead and get started cutting right down this way, and I'll pretty much follow this permanent marker line as my guideline and go from there. Alright, so I know I marked it up here, but then I thought about it and I wanted this flat part is going to be the area where I'm going to put my sheet metal that's going to cover all the cut open area. So I'm going to self-tap or even rivet in some screws just to make that nice and clean so it'll sit right here and also sit right here. That's why I left that little bit of meat just for those self-tapping screws to go ahead and bite onto. check this now. See what we can pop up. See what's still connected. Alright, still connected right there. Alright, so I have to do some cutting, a little bit more cutting over here. It looks like it's actually still connected, somewhat connected by another sheet of metal. So I have to go ahead and cut through that a little bit more. But let me go ahead and peel and see if I can get a better look at things. Alright, so it looks like it's the track that's holding on just a bit. So I'll have to do some more cutting there. Let me cut this sheet off, and then I can get you guys a close-up on exactly what's still hanging on. So let me go ahead and put my materials back on. Alright, yeah! I will not be defeated! Alright, so there we have it there. Alright, so this is the part that's actually still hanging on. You can see there's a reinforced bracket back here that is still holding on. Well, this goes all the way back, and it connects to the hinges, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where I'm at now, and I'll have to cut those. So that's what's going on under here. And yeah, it looks like I'll just have to cut one more time, do an additional cut, just because there's more than one layer. This was just one layer of sheet metal, so I ripped right through that. This is going to take a little bit more TLC, should I say. So let me go ahead and get cutting on that. there's that. And then we have this here. As you can see, there's some reinforced metal. Let's see if I can bend this. Oh, it's still on just a tad, so I'll have to do one more cut. So let me show you that. So as you can see, there's twice the metal. You got to cut through 2 layers. So that's why it was so difficult, but we shall not fail through persistence and determination. So there we have it. We pretty much have the door skinned. There's a little bit more metal that I can cut off, but this is practically how you want to get it, or where you want to get it. And then if you decide to keep the tracks, I would just get rid of them. You can do that, but I'm going to go ahead and take this off, the rails off, because we're probably going to be going with some Lexan glass once I finish this process. Alright, you have this side. That's chump change. That's always nice. So this side just comes off. The only thing left is the actual weather stripping, which you can cut that off as well. Just take a pair of scissors and cut that off. Or you can get a knife. Get a knife or get some scissors, cut the excess off, and you are pretty much ready to go. There's that. Now that we have the bar, we have access to the bar, we can go ahead and we can start cutting the bar. When it comes to the bar, just be careful because the skin is right behind it. There is some glue underneath there, so I'll take my knife and I'll just make sure that it's disconnected. I'll cut it on both sides, just to make sure that it is released. These cars are so old that it probably isn't even holding on anymore, but just to be sure, we'll go ahead and we'll slice any glue that is remaining that's holding that on. I'm going to take you. And just keep in mind, when you're cutting, or even deciding if you want to cut, keep that in mind that all this is at your discretion, because once it's cut, that is it. It is gone. It is done. There is no coming back. That is the end. There is a point of no return. There's no going back. So if you have extra doors, woohoo for you. If you do plan on doing it, you could also plan on keeping extra doors. Whatever the case may be, just, take that with a grain of salt. There's no turning back. Once you do it, that's it. That's the end of the story. Right? So we have your latch here, or not the latch, the support bar that's going to hold on to the door. I would remove that because it's going to get in the way when you start cutting. Those are 2 10mm bolts. So we'll go ahead and remove those now. Go ahead and put those 2 10mm bolts back on that bracket. Put that aside. And now we have a little bit more room to go ahead and start cutting over here. So I'll try and cut as close to the edge of the door as possible. The same thing with that side. With that said, I will probably go ahead and remove the latch mechanism as well. Those are 3 screws, 3 Phillips screws, so you can go ahead and remove those. Come on, baby. Alright guys, almost stripped that. I was actually using a P2 bit. If you guys can see that, that's a P2. You want to go ahead and use a P3. They're a little bit more hefty. And guys, now that you have the latch mechanism removed with those 3 screws that I was just talking about, you can go ahead and set that aside. You don't actually have to remove it. As you can see, I just twisted it to a point where it could actually sit aside away from the support bar. So we're going to go ahead and cut it straight across, and we're going to cut through 2 layers. This is one layer right down here, and this is a second layer right down here. These are actually spot welded, so you can see right here, it's actually underneath your stripping. It's actually 2 right there, and then you have another 2 right there. So you can choose the option of drilling those out or using a spot weld tool and taking those out, or you can just cut it right off, which is what we're gonna do. And the same thing over here. We're gonna go ahead and cut straight across as close as we can. We don't want to hit this bar. I mean, you can, but it's just gonna be a lot harder to cut through. So if you can get it right behind there, it's gonna be tough. But we'll do our best. We'll probably cut right here first, and then we'll take a grinder and grind that down. But the more you can get, the better. If not, it's not really a big deal. So, all right, let's go ahead and get back to it. All right, so I was just looking at it, and we are going to have to cut some of this skin. So I'll probably cut right along this line and knock some of that out, actually, and get some of that out of there. So let's do that now. Let me get you guys closer so you guys can see this, because it's real important to get this right the first time. Alright, so again, we're going to go ahead and cut it right here. So we're going to try and cut that straight across and avoid this lump. We don't want to hit that. We want to hit right here, pretty much, as close to the skin of the door as possible. So we don't want to hit this, but we also don't want to hit that. You can, but it will get difficult. So we're trying to make this as easy as possible. Go ahead and move that aside. you guys can see, that is pretty much right there. That is pretty darn good. I think it's holding on just a bit more. Yep, underneath. So I just have to cut a little bit more on this side. Just take your time and go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you'll get it eventually. Alright, there we have it. Wow, that's some weight right there. But yeah, that is it. And now we'll move on to the other side. You'll know when it comes loose. It'll drop. It's got enough weight to drop. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the other side. Alright, so now we're going to do this side. Now we're going to cut right here, if we can. Same spot as we did on the other side. But this right here, probably 5-10 pounds, anywhere between those two numbers, and that is completely out. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. I do appreciate it, and that will conclude this video. That is everything in there, completely out. I'm gonna give you a closer look on everything. So there is that. It's that extra metal I was telling you about. I was having difficulty throughout the video. There's another piece right over here. Sits opposite from the hinge. Over here as well. Opposite from the hinge. And That's pretty much it. Note, it is going to be hard to take out that bar, so if you can cut off a little bit more than I had over here, especially in this corner, you'll be able to get that out a lot easier. So that pretty much concludes cutting this door. I won't do a video for the other side of the door or the opposite door because it's essentially the same exact process. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. This is J Built. Again, as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, and thanks again for following, everybody. Have a great day.